Yo, welcome to a special All 49ers Roundtable. Grant Cohn, Jose Sanchez, the coach making his return. It's the
Yes.
return of the coach.
I'm back, baby.
Coach, good to see you.
Thank you, man. Good to see you guys, man. We're back, man. I'm glad to be back. And we're here, man. Let's get into this draft, man. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Let's do it. We're going to talk about Ricky Pearsall a lot, what we like about the pick, what we don't like so much about the pick. But first, it seems like there's news. Nothing's actually happened with the 49ers and trade, but there's smoke. There's smoke, no fire yet. Deebo Samuel is being speculated that he's going to get traded maybe today. This is Mike Silver speculating. No one's gotten anything right about this trade stuff yet, but he says it's likely that Deebo's getting traded.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been teams like the Patriots who have been linked to Deebo. So, Jose, I'll give you the first take on this one. What do you think of this Deebo news?
Makes sense because actually, I don't know if you recall, last week we were talking about how do we envision a draft day trade for Brandon Aiyuk. I had said the only way I can see a draft day trade working is if they grab their guy at wide receiver first at pick 31. I may have gotten the receiver who they were trading wrong, but the logic was still there. That's mainly because I couldn't fathom that, okay, Deebo Samuel would actually even be on the table, which I guess it should have been because the Niners have demonstrated they have no problem eating dead cap money after Eric Armstead. So that's for now on. Like, I don't want to ever hear like, oh, they're going to take on this hit. They clearly have demonstrated that. Everything's on the table now. We will never acknowledge that again. Everything's for now an option. So I 1,000% buy some credence into this, that he's on the way out, especially because what it looks like is that Pearsall has some similarities to Deebo Samuel. And I remember last week I was telling you, like, look, if they're going to get you get a Donovan Mitchell, because at least there's a little bit of he's still a little bit in the ballpark of what the type of receiver you're getting with him. And Pearsall is like not far off what Deebo is. Maybe he's not as like, he doesn't truck people as much, but he's probably more well-rounded actually wide receiver. So yeah, I definitely buy news on this. The Patriots could be there. Maybe the Chargers, who you've always mentioned. But yeah, I 1,000% see this as an option of what they would consider. They would just have to like to bite the bullet and being a little bit weaker in that department in 2024, but the ball rolls on without him.
What do you think, Coach?
Well, I agree exactly what Jose is saying, but just from a different perspective. One is that the elephant in the room has always been Deebo Samuel when we started talking about the Brandon Aiyuk talks, right? When we were talking about what he wanted, what he deserved. In a way, you didn't really want to dump on BA because you knew that he did deserve the money. He does deserve the money that he wants. And not only does he deserve the money that he wants, but how he's being featured in the offense is going to have to change. And Deebo can't be here with the price tag that he has for that to happen. I didn't think that they necessarily were going to broach that subject so soon because of how Deebo is entrenched in the team and his worth, especially with how they used him. They tried to use him in the targets that they gave him in the Super Bowl. But at the same time, I do like what this is virtue signaling to is the fact that everything's on the table. That $28 million that Deebo is due to get paid this year, he doesn't deserve it. He's overpaid. And I feel like they know it. Deebo knows it now, and they're trying to get a deal done. Now, again, the pick is a reach. I don't know. We could talk about how they're going about to rectify that, but Deebo being on the move is 100% fine with me. It's exactly what they need to do.
See, I know a lot of people wanted this before the draft. Like, don't trade Aiyuk, trade Deebo. Here's my thing with trading Deebo. It seems like the problem isn't trading Deebo, it's trading his contract. It's more than what he's worth. So I'm curious to see if they do trade him today, what do they really get? If they get a high second round pick for Deebo Samuel, hats off to you. That's incredible. But I think it'd be more likely like a third round pick because who really wants that contract? And if you're trading Deebo for a third round pick and eating a ton of dead cap, are you getting better? Is it really worth it at that point? Where with Aiyuk, it's like, okay, you're losing Aiyuk, man. He's really, really good. That's tough. But you might get a top 20 pick. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe that market for Aiyuk never existed. Maybe the best you could get for Aiyuk is a high second round pick. I don't know. But the idea of trading Deebo and eating all that dead cap just for a third round pick is like, I don't know. Doesn't make it better.
They both pose the same problems just in different ways. If you're going to take Deebo, you're going to give lower compensation for the fact of it's like, dude, I'm taking on this contract, this beast of a contract that you signed this guy. You got to do something with me. You got to do something with me. And then with BA, he deserves the mid first round pick. But at the same time, if I'm a team ingesting BA, I'm saying to myself, all right, guys, I'm taking him on because I want him. But you guys are getting a first round pick and I got to pay this guy. I got to give him the $30 million a year now. So now you're looking at teams that are saying, and then on top of it is that the market is always contextual on the temperature of the team. BA's not happy. So nobody's coming in with a sweetheart deal. They're trying to squeeze the Niners. I wouldn't come in with something that the Niners actually want because I want them to be pressured from both sides. All right. I'm giving you barely what you need, and you got a player that doesn't want to be here. So all roads lead to the easiest fix, which is you're going to want somebody who wants a ready-made player for now. And that's why I think Deebo is the one, because the ceiling isn't even there with Deebo. We know what he can do, right? So we don't know what Brandon Aiyuk looks like as a featured player in this offense.
Jose, best guess, if this goes down, which team do you think is going to be interested or in on this?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually ran through with my cousin last night about who would actually, like, couple teams, and it's kind of hard to see what teams actually would do it. A little more feasible when you consider a second or a third. But, you know, one team, and me and him were just spitballing, I thought about the Washington Commanders. Why? Adam Peters is there, right? They could use that. They have the
I ran into Deebo Samuel and Adam Peters in an elevator one time in Cincinnati right before they played a game. They seemed like they were real good friends. They were talking about something. I walked in and they stopped talking. I was like,
yeah, that's my first guess. And then I thought New England number 2, actually, before the reports.
That's because there's only one nice hotel in Cincinnati. I'm sorry, I'm done. I was staying at the same hotel as them because there's only one nice hotel in Cincinnati. Shout out to Cincinnati as a city. And anyway, keep going.
You're not welcome.
Adam Peters, the Commanders. I'm with you on that.
They're coming for you in Cincinnati now. You're done. You're done over
here.
It's over.
Yeah, so Commanders were number 2. Patriots. Commanders number 1. Patriots number 2. I even briefly thought the Ravens number 3, maybe the Chargers number 4, because, you know, Greg Roman could probably get some trickiness with Deebo. But those are my 4 teams I thought, because of need, they could afford them, and it would also probably be a fit. But other than that, it's kind of hard to envision who would actually be able to take him on, and it really is because of that contract. Like, that's perfect, like perfectly well said. And I was thinking of a coach that is, they're like two sides of the same coin. It's like, yeah, they may be different reasons, but there's still contract reasons for why you wouldn't take those on for a first round pick. And plus, maybe the wide receiver market wasn't that high for a first round pick anyways. You know, Diggs didn't go for a first. And who's the last person that went for a first? Tyreek and 2 years ago, AJ Brown. Aiyuk wasn't going to go for what AJ Brown did in 18th. And even if he did, who's picking at 17 or 18? The Jags? I mean, it didn't seem like they were there. They got their guy, right? Thomas. So yeah, it's just, I think it's going to show like wide receivers worth a first is not, it's not worth it. You're better off taking one actually there, so you can give yourself those actually 5-year options, the lowered money deal, and you can. It's all about being homegrown talent. But yeah, so Deebo I think will be those teams: Commanders, Ravens, Patriots, even Chargers.
I like him to the Chargers. That sounds like a good one to me. I mean,
yeah, Greg Roman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people were talking about that for like almost like 2 years ago, actually, right? When his deal was up. Right, when they were talking about, oh, Deebo requested a trade, where can he go? Like, oh, Ravens and Lamar, that would be disgusting with the read option. You know, Greg Roman could probably have some little cutesy plays. So, yeah, that'd be a nice little creativity right there.
Boxing Fan Times 4 says a Grant Cohn lookalike with a beard. Is that Ricky Pearsall?
He does not look like you. What?
Way older than him. Jewish Guy says, finally, the coach has come back. Finally, the coach has come back.
Finally.
His spot track pre-6-1 trade for Deebo cost $21.8 million dead cap and saves us $6.9 million. Use savings to instead JJ and extend Aiyuk to lower this year's cap number. Smart move is to move Deebo even for a third.
Here's the thing. The only thing like the trade look, the same thing about why teams wouldn't take a first for Aiyuk and Deebo because their contract, right? The same reason why it's kind of hard to let go of Deebo or Aiyuk because you're hurting yourself in the immediate, right? 2024, you might be better 2025 or 2026, but the immediates were like, can I stomach this? Like, is it worth it? Like that's where you really got to really ponder. Like, is it worth it? Is it worth taking that 3rd round pick who's not going to have anywhere near the same impact as this guy?
Okay. Let's talk Brandon Aiyuk. He was the focus of all the trade discussion for the last month. And now all of a sudden it's switched to Deebo and the Niners getting something today. Is it possible that Aiyuk could still get traded? I mean, are the Niners really going to fork over the money that he's been looking for now? I mean, it is interesting. It seems like there wasn't a trade market for him yesterday. Like people said Jacksonville at 17, but it seemed like they were more interested in just to Jose's point from earlier, just taking a wide receiver on a rookie deal as opposed to spending $1 bajillion on Brandon Aiyuk. So could the Niners trade Aiyuk to New England for pick 34? Or do you think he's definitely staying now that they drafted Ricky Pearsall, who's his friend?
You want me to take this first?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I think he's staying. And not because they value BA more than Deebo. I think that they feel as though that they can move Deebo easier than they can move BA, right? And they're going to pay BA because they're strapped to. I'm starting to get starting to kind of understand how they're moving from a standpoint of you have to think like Kyle. These players and these roles that they have are created by him. So in his mind, they're expendable, especially when they get into the position of whether or not I can maneuver to keep my defense strong, the economics of the team. And what's emblematic of that is how they picked the player that they did at 31, where for them, they're not thinking that this is value. This is not a valuable pick. This is I want this guy because he's going to fit this role and he checks a box. So we're picking him. And to all other logic be damned. And I feel as though that right now, the only reason why we're keeping BA is not because they actually value him over Deebo, is that just right now, the temperature of the market is Deebo can get moved and BA can't.
That's surprising.
System, not the player. That's what it kind of feels like about Kyle all the time. It's about the system, not the player. And that's where you get a little bit of the, what the hell are you doing at pick 31, where it felt like a reach? I mean, not felt like a reach. I think it was a reach. But yeah, in terms of Aiyuk staying, I honestly thought he had been staying all along. So yeah, I think after this pick, especially because when you got someone that's similar to Deebo, which pretty much did give like the green light or signal, or the bat signal of, wait, someone might be going. It's probably going to be Deebo, considering you're not going to have two of the same caliber type of players, right? So I think that's where like Aiyuk's going to stay, and then it just makes more sense. He's the better player for Brock Purdy, whereas Deebo's the better guy probably offensively. What's more better for your offense or your quarterback? And I think maybe now this might be a sign that where Kyle's like, look, I'd rather just take the hit and to get free of this contract and then be more invested in my quarterback. Now that I got a guy who actually throw past 10, 15 yards and actually was consistently. So yeah, I love Aiyuk staying.
The way I read this is the Niners were sort of being coy about who was available, and they didn't get a deal that overwhelmed them. I mean, they've been pretty clear these guys are available, but now they're saying both guys are available. We drafted Ricky. How do you pronounce his last name? Ricky
Pearsall?
Ricky Pearsall. Pearsall. We drafted Ricky Pearsall. We have a wide receiver that's ready to go. Make an offer for either one, and we'll trade whichever one fetches the best offer. So it could be Deebo, it could be Aiyuk. I mean, I think a lot of people feel, well, the Niners wouldn't trade Aiyuk for anything less than a first round pick. Was he even worth the first round pick? I mean,
nope.
It seems like if there are good rookies, it seems like a rookie with a first round grade, a wide receiver with a first round grade is more attractive than a 26-year-old wide receiver you have to pay $30 million a year to. Mm-hmm. Even though that guy's quote unquote proven.
2 or 3 wide receivers you could take in the second round too that are like could start immediately. At least 3, maybe 4.
Exactly.
Right?
So I'm not even sure he's worth the first round pick, but if if Aiyuk's worth a high 2, what's Deebo worth?
Like a 3 at best.
A 3 at best. So again, like maybe you trade Aiyuk instead. Maybe you trade them both. It's interesting. What are you gonna do here?
Take the TNT, strap it to Levi, just blow it up. See what happens.
Just blow it all up.
Be the Joker, like from Dark Knight, where he just blows everything up.
They got Ricky Pearsall. They're good, man. They got him. They got Trent Taylor.
You know what they did say? What did they say at the press conference? Because I caught it like right after it got finished. Like, and he's a return guy, right? And I'm like, aye. And you guys drafted 31 for a return guy. Look. Let's say they keep them all, right? Which
are we into the draft discussion? Can we go now?
No, not yet.
Because Jose's breathing, and I want to go.
Because we're gonna go there for like 45 minutes. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
Hold on. Let's take a couple supers and then we'll get there. Carlos says the whole division took pass rushers, and instead of beefing up the Niners, took a slot returner. This team doesn't throw enough to justify this pick. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the downside of it in a minute. Damon Dickerson, I'm fine not getting a tackle at 31, but a wide receiver. This wide receiver. Someone please take the PS controller away from Kyle. I had a theory too before we move on. From Aiyuk, is it possible? I keep going back to the Jacksonville pick. They traded down. That pick was available. And is it possible the Niners would have traded Aiyuk for that pick, Aiyuk and whatever it took, if Fuaga was available or Fashanu? Is it possible they were looking for one of those two tackles, and when they were both gone, they were like, well, we don't really want Amarius Mims and Troy Fatanu? Is that possible? I'm just trying to figure out what happened here, because it seemed like a lot of people were theorizing the same exact trade, and then it didn't go down, and Jacksonville pivoted to trading with Minnesota.
Yeah, I definitely see that on the
I mean, the Saleh took Fashanu. They run a similar system. It's possible that they beat the Niners to it.
I mean, they don't value. I feel like they're scared. The first like Buckner situation was when they let go of Brown and went and patched him with Mike McGlinchey, and it didn't work. Right. And I think ever since then, they are like really shell shocked with getting offensive linemen high, especially in the first round. Right. So for me, I feel like this is still the deepest offensive line draft in the past 20 years. I thought that if they were going to stand pat at 31, we were going to go exactly into who they are. Defense, right? Because that's where you can still get the second best defensive tackle in the draft at 31. You can still get Cooper DeJean at 31. Like, so for me, I just feel as though that they panicked. And they did want a receiver because they're trying to move either BA or Deebo. And they lost context of their own debate, where they didn't get what they wanted, but they didn't back away to say, okay, so let's table this and get back to business. They kind of
hold on, let's restrain ourselves from criticizing this pick yet, because I have a lot of things I want to say that I like about it. And I want to be positive, because he's just 23 years old and
you're fake.
He's just 23 years old.
And kids these days are sensitive. You know what I'm saying? We got to be positive first. I want to make sure that everyone knows that I have nice things to say about Ricky Pearsall. Tavarius,
dude, when he came in here, he was asking how to transfer over his 401k. This dude is like, stop, bro. Come on, man.
Tavarius says, how did Purdy look without Deebo?
Who else is missing from those games?
Trent Williams. Jay Garza, member for 28 months. Okay, before we get into Ricky Pearsall, let's take a minute to shout out our sponsor, BetUS, the #1 online sportsbook. Currently offering 125% deposit match up to $2,500 in your first 3 deposits. Let's make some deposits. On the draft, round 2, who's going to be drafted first? A.D. Mitchell or Ladd McConkey?
Who's drafting?
These are specials on BetUS. Who's going to get drafted first today?
No, but who's got
A.D. Mitchell or Ladd McConkey?
No, it's the bet period. They're just asking who do you think is going to get drafted?
Between them?
Yeah.
Oh, Mitchell.
Okay, Mitchell. $10. I'm putting 10 on these. I got 10 on it. No. Okay, hold on.
You put 100.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah, I got to put more. You 100? You think I put 100 on it?
No, I'm just kidding. Don't put
Yeah, 100.
No, don't do that.
100. Oh yeah, I'm going big today. Okay. Cooper DeJean or Kool-Aid McKinstry, player to be drafted first.
Cooper.
This is fun. I like this.
Foot.
Yeah.
Who? Cooper?
I think Cooper is going. Because Kool-Aid, they're scared of his foot. I think that's why
they're scared of his foot.
And I think the Niners finally have a self-rule. We don't draft someone with injury concerns anymore. At least not early.
At least not really.
Okay. Player to be drafted first, Keon Coleman or Jalen Polk?
Keon.
Yeah, I want to say Keon.
See if I can put 100 on that. Yep. First running back drafted, Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks, Jalen Wright, Blake Corum, Marshawn Lloyd, Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving.
Dude, I have no idea, because running backs are so hard to fit where they're gonna be.
Let's try Blake Corum just for the fun, just for the funk of it.
Just for your boy Harbaugh.
50. Okay, we could do that to win 300. First linebacker selected: Junior Colson, Edrin Cooper, Peyton Wilson.
God,
First linebacker, Edrin Cooper.
Edrin Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go Edrin Cooper. I'm just throwing money around. Oh, 50. Okay, we can do 65. That works.
Mm-hmm.
First safety drafted.
Nubin. We could have picked him up at 31, by the way.
Yep. First kicker pundit selected. I don't have it. Will Spencer Rattler be drafted in the second round?
Yes.
No. You think so?
Michael Penix and Bo Nix were taken 8th and 12th. Hell yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I would have loved to done this bet yesterday, Grant, on like Penix and Bo Nix, because we probably would have our bets would have cracked 1,000%.
That's true. I like that one. 50. If it's a long shot, they limit you to 50. That's fine. Blake Corum, we got you. This is actually fun. Mr. Irrelevant player position. Quarterback, D-line, cornerback. What do you think? What position will be Mr. Irrelevant this year?
Quarterback.
I feel like it's going to be quarterback. Yeah, quarterback, because people are going to get all cute. Like, I want to find the next Brock Purdy. Something.
Yeah.
I agree.
Whoa, what the 266th pick? Grant Cohn. Like, will he be Mr. Irrelevant?
Will Frank Gore Jr. and Brendan Rice both be drafted by the 49ers?
No.
Plus 3,000, yes. Okay.
Yes.
No, it's if you want it, it's plus 3,000. You can't bet on no.
Yeah, the odds are too freaking terrible, probably. Minus 10,000.
Okay. These were fun. I think we got them all. Will Blake Corum be drafted in the second round? Oh, hold on. Will Brandon Aiyuk or Deebo Samuel be traded during the second round of the NFL draft? Boom. There we go. Minus 175, yes. Plus 130, no. Hey, there it is. We found it. Thank you, BetUS. That's why they're the number one online sports book. Right there. Right there. See what I'm saying? What are we doing? Yes? No? Yes?
I want yes for chaos.
Yeah. Let's put yes.
Just for chaos.
So minus 175 means if I put $100 down, I win how much?
175.
175.
Okay. Well, they're going to limit me to 87.50s to win $50.
Oh, what do they know?
What do they know? Okay. We're going to lock it in. BetUS is all over that one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I risked $685 to win 957.
Savage.
What do they say? Hold on. I also want to mention that BetUS has 24/7 customer service and 24-hour payouts.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
Okay, here we are. We're about 20 minutes in. We got about 1,900 people watching the show.
Okay.
They want to know who Ricky Pearsall is. So what do you guys like about him for the next 10-ish minutes? Only positives about him and the pick. What do you like about it? An exhaustive list. All the good things about this pick and this player.
I can go
Nothing
first.
Positivity.
I'll go nothing but positivity first. Okay. So number one is that he is a gamer. He's polished. Okay. He's got good routes, great feet, sure hands. He's a gamer, man. All right. This kid, he wants to play ball. He wants to get open. And he fought for, are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. He fought for his stance, right? Went to 2 different schools, played 3 years at Arizona State, came into Florida and wasn't given the red carpet treatment. He struggled his first year, came back and actually led his team as one of the best pass catchers on that team. All right. Now, he's super athletic. All right. He's somebody that fits exactly what we do. All right. And Kyle loves him. I think that he actually is a good fit for us by his skill set for speed. We don't have anybody as fast as him that can take the top off the defense. We don't have somebody that can have return ability. He gives us a more bang for your buck. And then also Yak It's not as if that he runs these routes, catches the ball, and then that's just the end of the show. He really turns on once he gets the ball in his hands. All right. And he seems to be a conscientious football player as far as being able to run as many routes from so many different positions on the field. So he's a multi-use athlete. He's mature. Okay. I feel like this is something that the Niners do when they've been drafting. They get more mature guys that can add on to the culture to be a culture fit. And I think that it's also something where it's a good on good pick. All right. We already have a very good wide receiver room, but because of it, we've always kind of been grabbing low hanging fruit, getting late round guys and developing them. It's about time for us, Sands, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Aiyuk, for us to get another vested pick in the first round. So if this is the glass half full, I'm pretty much running on fumes right now. But that's how I feel about the pick, positive wise.
All right, Jose, give me some more. That was great. I really liked that. Jose, your turn.
Feels like you actually love this pick, man. You got me fooled, man. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna dive into the trades, but I think like in terms of the offense, what I really love is he's like what I always like to call it a queen's chess piece. Like he's versatile in terms of like anywhere you want to put him. I know he spent like I saw something that said 60-70% of the time in the slot, which is cool, but it doesn't rule him out like anywhere else, right? You can put him in the backfield, you can put him outside, you can do a lot of trick stuff. And what does Kyle Shanahan love? Creativity, variety. That's everything, not just from his standpoint, but like in football, you have someone where you have that unpredictability before the snap. That's already giving you a nice leg up on anyone. So that's already huge for the 49ers standpoint and running offensively with all the things you're going to do. McCaffrey out of the backfield. If you do keep Deebo with Kittle. So I love all of that. So I think another point is the same reason why Deebo might be on the way out is Pearsall is a similar like Deebo, where I see he's not like the same truck style of runner where he will like run you over that Deebo does. I don't think Pearsall is that, but where he sacrifices in that, he's more of the better wide receiver, like pure wide receiver. And I think that's where you get this idea where Deebo Samuel is on the market, because while it's cool, we got the Yak God and Deebo Samuel, everything short slants, he can truck people. This guy cannot run routes 5-10 yards down the field. Like it's a fact. Like we cannot rely on him. He's no better than average, if that. Whereas Pearsall, he might be average right now, but at least we see already he can do that impact what Deebo already does now, and then go beyond if we work with him and if we scheme him up. So I think you got a lot of hope with him, and as a receiver, which the ceiling's higher.
Yeah, I feel like Deebo's perfect for a quarterback you don't trust, right? If you don't
like
trust
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, it's like, man, if we ask you to throw the ball down the field, you're going to throw a pick. Just throw it backwards.
Right.
Freaking throw it sideways and let Deebo do work for you. And like, that's not who the Niners have anymore. They've evolved beyond him. And like with Pearsall, it seems like he has a skill set that matches up better with Brock Purdy. He's a good route runner. He will go over the middle. He can win deep. I mean, it seems like his skill set matches up with the quarterback. So that's a good thing. And also, I got to give Kyle Shanahan credit. Like, this is clearly a Kyle Shanahan pick. And he's had success drafting wide receivers in this spot. This is a sort of where he drafted Aiyuk and Deebo. Pettis was the 44th pick. So if like with these premium blue chip, quote unquote, wide receivers, it seems like he's 2 for 2. So, I mean, even Brandon Aiyuk said like, this guy's hella good. And Brandon Aiyuk, I don't think he would just say that. So seems like he has the respect of his peers. CJ Stroud was effusive in his praise for him, was just like fell out of his chair, really wanted him on the Texans, said he's compared him to Tank Dell and said he could beat press coverage. I mean,
also, if you look at him, just to add this on, Grant, like also majority of all of his tape, if you look at the highlights, like a lot of that stuff that he's doing is precisely what Brock Purdy thrives at. He's running to areas to catch the ball, right? Yeah. One thing that he's also done is he's played with multiple quarterbacks who were not good, right? So the biggest thing for him is that he's always being put in a scheme where he has to run through areas to get the ball, be able to get led with anticipation by quarterbacks who need to get him the ball, which is something that Brock Purdy thrives with. And you're right. Like, as far as Deebo is concerned, like that skill set, that's one of the reasons why you do see New England kind of sniffing around Deebo, because they just got themselves a Drake May. So, you know, they're going to need somebody that can get the ball quick and get out. And, you know, Deebo's skill set is kind of obsolete here.
Yeah, I mean, imagine what the Niners would have done in the Super Bowl if those 11 targets had gone, you know, to other people. Kittle, Pearsall, Aiyuk, Jennings. I mean, those were just 11 targets that could have been distributed elsewhere. Yeah, so it seems like they're evolving away from the Jimmy Garoppolo offense and trying to build something new around Brock Purdy. I'm out of nice things to say. You guys got anything else?
I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hey, give me 30 seconds. I gotta go answer the door. I'll be right back.
Okay, fair enough. We'll take a couple supers on the way. Go do your thing. Go ahead. My egotistic aura says Deebo incapability to separate could be the reason we're not a pass heavy team. Maybe this pick was made to unlock the other side of the field. I like.
I mean, it's always been known that Deebo can't run routes. Which is always funny to me. Why is it in training camp we always see like those several go balls that they run? I mean, not like I go to like a bunch, but the 5 I see, I'm sure that's a pattern that I'm pretty sure you could attest to it. That's where this guy just ultimately they just run that. So I think he finally wants time. Like I want someone with a little bit of Deebo, but more receiver.
I mean, it's like if your quarterback isn't good, you might want a wide receiver who's half a running back since your quarterback can't get on the ball. But if your quarterback is good, you might just want wide receivers. You don't need that Deebo player anymore. Jay Garza says Kyle/John repeatedly don't understand draft value, making reach picks over and over. Pearsall may be a very good wide receiver too, but never a Pro Bowler. There were plenty of other players available that will be. All right, Jay, we're getting to that topic right now. Damon Dickerson says one consideration for Pearsall. He's a perfect fit for Kyle's system and could thrive. This is a double down on system over players. I would agree.
Yeah,
that's why they didn't trade down. Fish and chips. Imagine waking up on Friday being a number 1 pick in the NFL, and then you're compared to 3-catch Texas wide receiver Lil Shanny with skills living the dream. Okay. All right. It's time. Tell me what you guys didn't like about this pick or what the player, the pick, either way.
Go ahead, Coach. You've been waiting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think there's probably a long list and we don't want to miss anything.
All right. So number 1, it was clearly a reach. Okay. I'm just going to start this off with just the emotion behind it. It felt like Kyle got his 3rd round running back early this year. That's what it felt like. Okay.
Was he the best player available? No.
Hell no. He was not the best player available. Okay. Now, if you want to go for context, all right, at the time, the interior defensive line, which we need, was there. Jerzon Newton from Illinois was there. Michael Hall Jr. was there. Nubin, the safety from Minnesota, was there. If you really needed this type, and this is what's crazy about it, is that there's nothing unique about this player. Okay.
Dean was there. He also returns punts and could play in your secondary wherever.
Not only Cooper DeJean, but this is why this is bad. It's not the fact that you went and got something that you just had to have. It's the fact that you didn't have the foresight to understand that what you needed was in so many other players outside of this guy. Ladd McConkey is still out there. Okay. Malachi Corley is still out there. Malik Washington was still out there. For you to do this at 31 is just showing how foolhardy you are over the fact of your plan didn't work. So you were vindictive about how you felt about it and you forced this. This was a brute force. All right. Now let's just get into the player. All right.
Hold on. Let's go one at a time. Let's go one at a time. I don't mean to cut you off, but real quick, to your point, I asked John Lynch, did you give this guy a 1st round grade? And he said we gave him a very high grade. So the answer is no. You drafted a player in round 1 who you didn't give a round 1 grade. What's the point? If there's no one with a round 1 grade on the board when you're on the clock, you trade down. But why didn't they trade down? Well, they just had to have him. Jose, what else did you not like about this?
Honestly, in that defense, I'll say 31 pick is basically a 2nd round pick, to be honest, because I always
that's what they would say.
That way. But either way, the trade down was there. It's kind of hard not to say that it was a reach 1,000%. Right, I went on so many big board draft boards, PFF, the Athletic, everywhere. It's like no one had him top 8 receiver taken, or even top 10. Well, maybe a couple had him top 10, but it's like it clearly was an option. You guys could have traded down. The Panthers did it. The Cowboys did it. You guys,
Buffalo did it,
huh?
Buffalo did it right before the Niners.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a firm believer that was an option there. You guys had it, but no, you wanted him. Why? I think they desperately wanted to keep him on a 5-year option. I think they desperately wanted that 5th-year option. That's the only way I can that tells me them doing this means we wanted that 5-year option as an option, right? And so I think, and also signifies that Deebo's gone. So, but ultimately, it's is it worth it for a guy who's already 23, right? He's going to be 28, maybe 29 by the end. If you do get him that 50 deal, you're going to give him a second contract after that. That's a lot of this is kind of a hard sell. So I think
you kind of just casually mentioned he's about to be 24. That's another thing I don't really like about the pick.
Okay, cool. He's going to be 24.
He's going to be 24 in September.
He's going to be 29 then if you pick up that 50-year option. Like,
so he's about to be 24. He went to Arizona State and did nothing for 3 years. He went to Florida, did not much his first year.
Just mention that. He was
right. So he broke out when he was 23 playing against guys who were younger than him. That's concerning.
Yeah, I mean, it's a man playing against boys.
Yeah.
I mean, it took you 5 years to put
together. And he didn't even go for 1,000 yards in his best year.
Look, man, he's polished already. What I see is a player who literally has gotten everything out of his skill set. And if it wasn't for the COVID year, he may not even be in the league. Okay. Because last year he was struggling with Florida. All right. So this is literally him putting it all together in this year. I just don't.
Year.
Yeah. In his contract year, in a sense. He's an older player. And I really don't see him getting better. Right. And then if you look at it, he's a slot. He's not even a real number 2. So it's kind of like
he's 108. He's not even 190 pounds.
Yeah. He's a slot. So I mean, we've spent our first round pick on an auxiliary guy who's going to get. I mean, who are we going to? All right. Okay. So look at it this way. Even if we move, let's say we move Deebo. All right. He's moved. Who's our number 2? Juwan Jennings?
Yeah.
And then we throw the rookie in that slot, or we're going to expect him to be
I think they're going to expect him to start and play on the outside. I think they see him as more than a slot. Maybe they're wrong, but I think they see him as more than a slot.
Maybe.
I mean, they have to see him as more than a slot.
He's Hunter Renfrow with speed, man. He's Hunter Renfrow with speed.
You know what I hate about this pick the most? They didn't go after a corner when the corners are right there. Like, I get the 5th-year option, and it's like, oh, well, after this year, we don't really have much clarity. You don't have much clarity at a corner either, bro. After 2024, you have 0. You're going to end up repeating what you did at defensive line this offseason. And year after year after year, we hear the same crap from this team. We need an outside corner. Or not. We don't hear it, but we see their actions. We need an outside corner. Ambry Thomas is in. Samuel Womack's in. You had the option right there. 5 years right there. An adequate corner. And you said no. Like, when are you guys going to invest in position there?
Okay, here's why I don't like the pick. And I think it's real simple. I'm not an expert on the player, but I've seen some. I've read about him. Here's my take on the pick. Was he the best player available? No. Did he fill a need? No. Did he make the team better? No. If the answer to all 3 of those questions is no with your first round pick, you messed up. They could have traded up. They could have traded back. Either would have been preferable to just standing pat and taking this guy that they didn't bring in on a top 30 visit. They had minimal contact with. You could say that they were trying to be coy, or you could hypothesize that maybe they wanted someone else. Maybe they wanted Xavier Worthy, who the Chiefs traded up to get. Why did the Chiefs trade up to get Xavier Worthy? Well, there was one team ahead of them that wanted a wide receiver, the 49ers. Maybe they felt, the Niners might want Xavier Worthy. Let's make sure we get him. We'll trade up 4 spots. Boom. And they could say that's the guy with the first round grade. I mean, he set the record for the 40-yard dash. Then the Niners, being passive, standing pat, take the best wide receiver available that fits their system and say, well, he's going to return punts for us. And that's how we'll make his impact early on. Like, I don't see that.
I mean, even if he was going to even if they were going to stick with this, I mean, Adonai Mitchell is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Leggett is there. Xavier Leggett is there. Like, if you're going to do it the right way. Like, get a real viable receiver. I think that this is a gadget guy. We got another packaged piece for Kyle to play with, but we didn't actually move the needle with this pick.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that if you look at his highlights quickly, you see, jet sweep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he can sort of fit the 49ers offense. It's like, that's great.
Screens.
That's great. So he's a little bit better at Aiyuk on the gadget stuff. But, Aiyuk has those 34-inch arms. This guy's 30-inch arms. So if he's replacing Aiyuk, I mean, yeah, he's a little faster than Aiyuk. Maybe does he play faster than Aiyuk? I don't think so. He's not stronger than Aiyuk. He's not a better blocker than Aiyuk. He can't extend and make catches that Aiyuk can make. So if he's here to replace Aiyuk, that's a downgrade. If he's here to replace Deebo, he's different than Deebo. He's not the yards after the catch guy that Deebo is. I don't know. I'm not. Aiyuk likes him though.
Reach.
Fire
It
pick.
was a reach. They could have did this later. I just feel like the point of order was them trying to figure out what they were going to do with either Brandon or Deebo. And
I forgot one thing that I really like about this pick, real quick. His knees work. I love that. I think that's money.
Yeah.
It's so off brand for the Niners too. Like, let's just 2 good knees. What do you say? He has both of them? Wow. So good for Ricky.
You know what else is on brand for the 49ers? Kyle Shanahan messing up the first round pick again. Like, dude, like weeks ago, we talked about this. Like, do we trust the 49ers to the first round pick? And I eventually said, like, you know what? I may want corner, I may want offensive line, but at the end of the day, I don't care. Just get the right pick. Just get the player right where the moment we're elated, or maybe a year 2 down the line. And I don't view this as I'm elated in the moment. Hell no, I don't think anyone is. Most people aren't. And I don't view this as a year or 2 down the line where we're going to be like, that was a good pick either. Because this is just Kyle Shanahan over and over again, early day drafting, man.
Usually they reach for need. This time they just reached for the sake of it. Go ahead, coach.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you, I mean, we understand what the pick is, but I feel like we're still talking about the pick as if one of these guys is going to be gone, in being BA or Deebo. How do you feel about the pick if they don't bite? And
that's what I'm saying.
You
just drafted a guy to be your 4th receiver.
Deebo. Yeah, it's like, so how do you really feel about the pick if we can't move either one of them? Like that contextualized. So everybody who's behind the pick, I think they're all thinking, well, all right, well, there's obviously going to be a natural spot for him because BA or Deebo is going to get moved. That's why they did this. They're
but if that's the case, you're not as good of a team. And if he's just sitting on the bench, you're not a better team. So either way, you don't get better.
No, think about it. If they don't move off any of them, you pretty much. That's what I'm saying earlier. You pretty much drafted a punt returner or kick returner at 31
in the first round
for the first year.
Yeah. Jazz has drafted Dante Pettis 2.0. I'm sick to my stomach. Now, okay, he is built like Dante Pettis, and that kind of concerns me. But what they would say the difference is, well, this guy played in the SEC, and look at that one-handed catch he made, and he's shown his toughness. Yeah, but he did that at 23 years old. Like, what's he going to look like in the NFL? Because, frankly, he wasn't, trucking people at 18, 19, 20, 21, or 22. He was kind of not producing. And then all of a sudden at 23, he becomes this, like, beast on the field. Okay? Does that translate at 189 pounds in the NFL? Or does he get smacked one time going over the middle and say, you know what, this is way different? I want to know. They don't know. Like, this is what last year when they talked about when they drafted Jake Moody and they're like, oh, well, we know he has to make his kicks in the playoffs and it's a lot of pressure. But we did this one drill with him in this private workout where we told him like the game was on the line, and he nailed it. It's like, you can't simulate that. You don't. Yeah, you can't.
The game was on the line, and me and John were 10 yards from him going, oh,
miss it.
It was
throwing fast at his feet.
Dog, I would tell you, man, like the worst thing about this is that he's just not going to be a real option the way we think he is. Like, somebody's got to sit down for him to be elevated, right? And Kyle's going to brute force this because he's going to want to prove that the pick was worth it. So he's going to get like 30. He's going to get like targets. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to see who's going to be frustrated because of this, because I really do. I think that it's going to be really hard for them to move, especially after today. Like, it's going to be harder and harder to move these guys. And then we're just going to have like a very, very good and accomplished wide receiver room.
Jay Garza says, does this move Kyle's running back pick to the 4th? Clown.
I mean, yeah.
I'm still fully expecting a 3rd round pick.
Did you see that Kyle was on like with Greg Papa yesterday, and he even joked about that? He's like, yeah, we're going to take the running back in the 3rd. He won't work out. Then I'll take one in the 6th. That'll be the real one. So at least he has an ability to make fun of himself after the fact. Carol T. Kyle tries to show he's the smartest boy in the room rather than doing what's best for the team.
I say one thing.
He's been doing that for a long time.
At receiver, Deebo Samuel gone or Deebo Samuel, Brandon Aiyuk stays. Like, year 1, this looks like a bad pick because, again, like you guys said, either you got a punt returner / fill-in wide receiver, or you got a guy who's starting number 2 and not really like, a major impact. Because regardless, Pearsall can't replace Aiyuk or Deebo no matter, at least in year 1.
I like that his nickname is Slick Rick. I think he should wear an eye patch. That would be pretty cool.
I mean, what gets me is that, It's like you have to scout with anticipation. We talked about this, Grant. And what he's showing you now is it took him 5 years to get to this, right? There wasn't sophomore clips of Ricky Pearsall in Arizona showing what he was going to be in 3
And we
or 4
talk get to this. That's 965 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Exactly. So we're not talking like this is like the apex of what he is, and it took him 5 years to get here.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is that okay, he is a rookie. All right, forget the age. What do you project him to be? What is he? Right. And for me, he's polished already. He knows how to run the routes. What is he going to do? He's 6 foot, 190 pounds, and he's a slot guy. All of a sudden, he's just going to become an outside receiver in the NFL because he's running Kyle's routes. That's what's going to happen. Like, it doesn't work that way. I don't see, like, when we first got BA, right? When you saw him in college, you saw the ceiling, right? You saw how much he could grow. He wasn't big enough. He didn't have his NFL body yet. He didn't know how to run routes completely yet. He wasn't necessarily polished. So but BA
was back when he was playing college ball with Ricky Pearsall.
Thank you. And that was back when Ricky was backing him up. And this is when Brendan
Ricky!
So it's like, dog, that's what I'm saying is that we drafted this guy in the first round, and I see what he is now. It's like Hunter Renfrow. Did Hunter Renfrow really get better from Clemson to the NFL, or has he just been Hunter Renfrow the entire time until his body broke down? Like, come on. There was nothing past what he got to once he became who he was at Clemson. I feel the same way about this kid. I don't see him getting faster, getting bigger, getting stronger, knowing how he'll get savvier, but it's just he's not going to be elite. He's just going to be good.
Hunter Renfrow wasn't a first-round pick either.
True.
It's crazy how much better like our narrative, or at least not our narrative, our emotions and thoughts would be if like it was today. With the 66th pick in the 2004 NFL draft, the Niners select Ricky Pearsall. I would be like, okay, that's cool.
Okay.
Look, freaking like Crocker, one of the best out there, had him when he did his own mock 2 days before or whatever. He had Pearsall at 62. Yeah, Pearsall at 62.
To me, this is like taking like Roger Rosengarten in round 1, except that would even be like fill a need. Like at least that would have filled a need.
I would have liked that better because look,
exactly.
Exactly. Line, like sure, okay, it's a little bit of a reach, but offensive line, I'll never hate on offensive line. Like I saw Packers Twitter getting up in arms, like the Packers took Jordan Morgan. It's like, dude, you guys have a franchise quarterback. Invest in your offensive line.
Yeah.
I'll always refer to the Colts as the team that should always invest in an offensive line, no matter what. If you go there, I'll have no qualms about it.
You can't Andrew Luck your quarterback.
Don't do that. Yes. Don't
Andrew Luck
your quarterback or whatever, you know, whatever the saying you want to use that gets your quarterback hurt. But wide receiver is the easiest position to fill. And you went first round with a guy who's not even like one of the top prospects that no one had mocked 32nd. Look, I don't read a lot of mocks. I probably read like 5 the whole offseason, but I saw no one had him there in the first round or even early second.
I think when he catches a pass, they should play 5 in the morning by Pretty Ricky every time. 5 in the morning.
He's gonna be good.
But just that one part.
He's gonna come
just
in. They're gonna show. They're good. I mean, all right. So it's over. He's gonna come in, and because of Kyle, because everybody knows that this is his pick, he's gonna succeed. He's gonna get targets. He's gonna get balls. Right. My thing is that it's just not gonna. This isn't gonna really see itself into fruition until we get to that inevitable part of the season where we start saying to ourselves, we got a bunch of number 2 receivers on our team. Like we don't have a number 1 guy. And we're going to start playing against defenses that are going to be showing us that. Where it's going to be like, yeah, all of these gadgets, it is cute when you play against teams who don't have real secondaries or have complete secondaries. But when you get to the games that matter to us, when you play against the defenses where they have it all, where they have the Kyle Hamiltons, where they have the L'Jarius Sneeds, right, that are out there, you're going to see what we're talking about. Okay? I mean, because this ain't going to show up against against the Browns or the Titans.
Yeah. My thing is like if they had traded down to 33, 37, it would be a fine pick to me. But where they took him, the fact that you couldn't get anything more, the fact that you were so locked in on one wide receiver when there's like a whole group of guys at the same, like I gave it a D. And I'm not saying he's a D player, but it's a D pick. It was not a good pick.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the player from us. It's just
No, it's the pick.
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
With the Kinlaw, right? Like with the Niners, like, dude, it's not the player. It's like what the team did.
Yep.
It's like the team's fault. Like, why are you guys like this? This makes no sense. Like, and my only logic is number one, again, they wanted the 5th-year option as an option. They could have viewed wide receiver as more worth it, or at least that player overall worth it than a corner like DeJean or McKinstry. And look, I think again, I still firmly believe it probably will never come out. But I firmly believe they definitely could have easily traded down. Again, several teams did it. The Niners probably could have did it, but the Niners probably like, no, I want the 5th-year option. I don't want to wait for this guy to fall. Let's just take him now. Which to me screams Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan over again.
I'm with you. Like either trade down and get Pearsall later or someone else like McConkey or whoever, or trade up and get Brian Thomas Jr. who went 23 or Xavier Worthy who went 28. Like, why not? One or the other.
Donnie Mitchell was still out there.
Yeah, one or the other.
I honestly think they were going for Worthy. I don't think the Niners value that kind of streaky wide receiver in their offense. They should do a lot for their offense, but like, look, one of their history has actually shown that. Marquise Goodwin, Danny Gray. Where else?
I don't think Purdy can get him the ball. That would be one thing.
Yeah.
Can't get him the ball.
In the Chiefs offense, it makes total sense.
It does. All right, a couple supers and then we're out. Damon Dickerson, if Deebo and Aiyuk stay, does JJ go for a 5th? Bad. Yeah, there's been some speculation online today that Jawan Jennings also would be available in a trade. Remember, the Niners gave him a restricted tender, and I don't even believe he signed it yet.
I thought he did sign it. Really?
I don't think he signed it yet. One of us would have written that article, and I haven't.
I thought I saw it, and
they tendered him, a 2nd-round tender, but I don't think he's signed it yet. Anyway, is it possible they could trade Jawan Jennings? I think that'd be too bad. I feel like, well, anyway, if I were another team, I'd want to trade for him. I like him.
No. I don't know, man. Like, I don't have a problem with the player, right? He's gonna fit and he's gonna do well, right? For what he's asked to do. It's just where we got him and what they were trying to replace him with. I just think it was a little rich. We could have got better actually at that position, not tried to patch a hole that we're trying to do fiscally, because that's what this is. This is, we need somebody to patch because we're getting rid of Deebo. That's what this is about.
Matt McEwen, Bills stacking picks. I think they go for Deebo. It'll be cheap for the Bills. Niners take care of most of the money. Deebo and Josh Allen seems like a bad
polar opposites
combination. Can Deebo even catch his passes? Although in the run game, that'd be pretty deadly, the two of them.
My cousin suggested that. I'm like, I don't see how the Bills do that. Plus, I think the Bills have pretty much for the last 2 months have pretty much waved the white flag in 2024. It's about stacking picks and getting like projection in 2024. Because look, we talk about the Niners draft classes the last 2 years being bombs. The Bills have bombed, probably worse.
They do need a wide receiver though, and they are contenders. They're not tanking.
Well, we got a whole lot to go. So I'm like this one. This one was shocking, but there's so many other players out there for us to like really make this a great draft and just have a head scratcher at the very beginning.
I think they're trying to get more picks today. Trade up, get a couple more polished guys, maybe get a couple depth guys. Maybe somehow they find an actually immediate starter.
Nathan,
they got to go O-line. They have to go O-line or D-line in this draft. At some point,
yeah.
We have to.
Yeah. Without Kyle Lynch, what would y'all be talking about? The 49ers. Whoever else was coaching the team.
Whoever would be coaching and running the team. It's not you guys think it's personal. It's just they hold the spot. That's what it is.
We'd be talking about this team, I guarantee.
No, we hate them. Come on, let everyone know. We hate them. We have a shrine in our closet
are gone.
Where we take the pins like voodoo dolls and stab them into the dolls that make them, that way they feel a little prick on their neck. Like, is Grant talking about me?
That's what happens. Long snapper in the third, asked Sammy and Pickle. JD Durham, how many woodchucks can chuck a woodchuck chuck if A? Thank you. Matt McEwen, Kyle wanted that 5th-year option. He alluded to that in the post-draft presser. Well, in that case. Matt McEwen, Lynch's laugh proves he wasn't a top 22. No, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Addicted to Action says, I want to get Frank Gore Jr., Brendan Rice, and Luke McCaffrey.
At this point, why not? Just get them.
Just do it.
Collect them like Infinity Stones.
I think they're going to do it. I mean, why not? They have no needs.
they didn't get corner, Grant, but I guess we predicted this like last week, where it's like I want them to take corner, but their free agency moves pretty much say they're not getting corner, and in the past, that's pretty much what it always means.
So the fact that we got a receiver in the first round, what's the over under on where we rank for pass attempts in the league this year?
I can't tell you over under, but I'll tell you like there's
28,
10.
28 and a half.
28.
They were 32nd last year.
They were 32nd. We were last.
They may be 28 and a half this year. They're gonna extend themselves a little bit.
That's funny that you say that, Coach, because Grant, your best friend in the media, I saw a tweet where he says the Niners had almost double their pass attempts in the playoffs, which means they're moving to a passing offense.
I saw that.
Idiot.
Sure.
Do you not remember they were trailing in 2 games? Are you stupid? Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I just can't. My head was about to explode.
I just can't. All right, before we go, I want to ask you guys, what do you think the Niners' next pick will be? You could say a player, you could say a position, you could say a move. What do you anticipate next? They're currently picking at the end of round 2, but they could trade Aiyuk, they could trade Deebo, they could trade Jennings, they could make move. What do you think the next thing they do will be?
Oh, I'd like for them to go interior defensive line. I still think there's some really good guys there that'll be around, even if they stand pat. That'll be around at that time. And if they want to go up there, Michael Hall Jr. is still available. Ruka Rororo is still available. Jerzon Newton out of Illinois is still available. I think that getting the players that we did in free agency was more. They talked a good game, like they were happy about what they got, and they got exactly what they were looking for. But there were some contingencies that they picked up. And I think that we still don't have a viable replacement for losing Eric Armstead. I'm not a big believer in Javon Hargraves as a run stopper on the interior. And I know that we picked up some other guys, but as far as how our team is built from a championship position, right? We do not have a championship defensive line right now. We don't. So in order for that to be true, they would need to start getting some guys in the draft right now. And they would either got to go edge or they got to go interior defensive line, because that's how we're ran. We need to get D-line.
Yeah, feels like a lot of platooning too much on that defensive line rather than there's not enough consolidated pieces. Well, platooning is fine, but it can't be like your basis beyond 1 or 2 players. And that's a huge toss-up with Hargrave. But yeah, it's kind of hard for me not to imagine they go anywhere in the D-line. I don't think they're going to go all line, because what they've been indicating all offseason is our offensive line's fine. So as much as it seems logical to go there, defensive line seems the most likely, because that's what they always do. You know, you draft what you're most familiar with. And I think that's kind of what also led them to Pearsall, most familiar with wide receiver, a guy that we know. So to me, I'm just looking at what do they view as need or familiarity. And I just can't help but think that, because I don't see corner. There's not a linebacker worth that early. But maybe they go safety again. If I were to throw a little wrench in the mix, maybe they go safety again, because we know they're not a big believer in Talanoa, or not at least 1,000% there. So maybe they go safety again. Maybe they go the safety that you like, Coach, or someone else after that.
Tyler Nubin.
I don't think they're going to go safety, just because based on history, they've never gone DB before round 3. Here's their 4 round 2 picks they've made since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have been here: Dante Pettis, Deebo Samuel, Aaron Banks, Drake Jackson. So based on that, I'm ruling out wide receiver, and I'm thinking they're drafting for next year, not this year, because they already decided that they have no needs this year and they're looking forward.
That's basically what they said, yeah.
They could take another guard. I mean, Aaron Banks is going to be a free agent next year. They could take another guard.
That's true.
Not even Aaron Banks. Right guard is pretty much your biggest hole on that offensive line. Honestly, as much as McKivitz gets blown up, like right guard, like you have old ass John Feliciano, you got Spencer Burford, who has no idea what his assignments are. Like right guard's a tremendous glaring need.
Mm-hmm. And left guards could be a need too in a year. Also, we're all of us are really down on Colton McKivitz, and we think that they could do a lot better. But once you saw Colton McKivitz in the John Deere commercial with Brock Purdy, that was over. It's over. It's over.
Was it the commercial with him? I never saw it.
Oh yeah,
that's hilarious. Well, he might
be the left tackle one day. Who knows? Colton McKivitz is here to stay.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we should have put 2 and 2 together on that one.
Would you ever wear John Deere merchandise, Grant? Wear the little John Deere?
No. I'm much more on the Ricky Pearsall end of the spectrum than the Brock Purdy end of the spectrum. Sorry. You won't catch me wearing cowboy boots under my 501s as I
I'm gonna
walk
get you a
around Oakland.
Woodland camo jacket so you can rock around next time on your stream. All right, John Deere sponsored by. I'm gonna lie everyone that Brock Purdy got it for you. Woodland Deere jacket, John Deere jacket. It will look clean.
I don't think he's sponsored by John Deere. I think it's the corn company of his in-laws.
Oh, what the hell?
That's what it is.
Fish and Chip says, Grant, did you like Kyle Shanahan's new haircut? Did you like that picture I took of Kyle looking at me like he wanted?
Oh my god, that was hilarious! I almost cried.
But yeah, like what I feel is like John Lynch isn't threatened by me and gets a kick out of me sometimes because he like usually smiles when I ask a question, and I think Kyle's the opposite. Doesn't get a kick out of me, is slightly threatened by me.
And you know what's even funnier is that he probably gets even more incensed because John indulges you. So he's probably like, "Why the fuck you smile at his ass? Stop fucking smiling at him."
He's harmless. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "Dude, lie it up. It's great." He's like, "Dude, I don't fucking like that."
It's because John doesn't take it personal. He doesn't have like an ego like that, where Kyle's definitely a fat ego. So if anyone just like even tickles his ego to question him in a degree, and you do more than tickle him, like you pretty much sock him in the stomach, and when you question him, he hates that. He hates
John's in the Hall of Fame. He's pretty secure in his standing in the league. I think Kyle's a little bit he's a little more concerned about controlling the narrative about himself. They are moving up for Rosengarten, says Matt McEwen. Okay, I can see it. Relic says Harbaugh's first pick as a Chargers head coach. Take notes, Kyle. I didn't like it. Right position, wrong player.
Why didn't you
I don't like Joe Alt. Joe Alt felt like a glorified McGlinchey. Jay Garza says, is Pearsall this year's reaction pick for what Ray did in the Super Bowl? Last year was tight end. Oh.
We said that he was scouting for a part of this was him scouting for the Super Bowl. It's like I had couldn't get open that we're not finishing the routes. I don't have a return guy. Like this is another like excuse for his last game he played. I said this. He's been doing like this is
okay, but it's not just Ray though. It's not just Ray though. It could be Deebo too.
Deebo, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wasn't he gave you 11 targets? You did nothing.
Yeah,
we thought he was going to scapegoat Spencer Burford. Turns out it was Ray and Deebo. Damon Dickerson, right guard is the only actual hole on the team.
Corner.
Ryan Hatfield says we're dealing with the white dog poo they fed us for the Super Bowl, and now they lay this poo on us. That's a Step Brothers reference. It was a good one. Corey Soto says, in regard Buffalo being after Deebo, that makes little sense. Bills have no receivers. You're going to trade for half a receiver? Nah, you go for BA.
He doesn't have a receiver. Like, he literally is just an offensive weapon. He's not really a true receiver.
I think we got to go out on that. We almost got 3,000 people watching. It's nice to have things to talk about. We really appreciate you guys watching us in the off season when there's less to talk about. So stick around. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, to Coach's channel. Check out Jose on si.com/NFL/49ers. Me too. The Niners. Pearsall talks at 2:30. He's coming to town. And then round 2 starts at 4. So stay tuned. There's stuff happening today. And then tomorrow is the worst day of the year.
What time does it start, Grant? 9?
8?
It starts at 9. It starts at 8?
I don't even know. Hopefully 9. Because I got to be down there. Ugh. Day 3. And then when it's over, practice squad.
I can't wait till I fake know that what the Niners drafted in the 5th round.
Like we have to learn like at least 15 players on day 3 who may or may not mean much in the grand scheme of things, but you better freaking learn them.
Dude, I just put PFF and Athletic and other sites like to give me like an hypothesize on something.
Don't give away your secrets. You're an expert. So are we all. Thank you guys for watching our expert analysis of the 49ers picks. Stay tuned for more expert draft coverage from these draft gurus. Take care.